how do I get over and around large learning curves? I think about it until something makes sense to me. So this was a process that Jamie and I both learned on Mythbusters was, and whenever you teach yourself something, you're going to read all this material and it's not going to make any sense because you won't have any contextualization for it. And you read about, you know, as I did when I was 17 and I got my first tap and die set. I went to the library and I started reading about tapping. And it didn't make any sense to me until I started breaking taps, and then it started to make sense to me. But so that's the thing that happens is you read enough, and I'm a big believer in book learning, something starts to trip in your mind. You start to understand a broad categorization, and then you start to understand more specific categorizations, and then something ticks in your brain, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. And at that very moment, you have that, wait a minute, you have something to contribute to that craft. And it's like everything you learn informs everything else that you learn, too. They're all analogous. These are specialized ways in which people have learned to solve problems. You know, a mold maker has to think upside down and backwards all the time. That's a really hard thing to do. A machinist has to see the thing inside the metal that he's cutting and learn the specific order of ways to get that shape out. That is a very specific way of thinking, and it's it's not obvious, and it's not easy. But the more you do it, the more you become able to do it. And one of my favorite things about learning new skills or listening to someone explain to me a new skill is realizing the ways in which the learning of that is analogous to every other thing that I've ever learned. So, like, even if it's as simple as learning how to tie some knots, the things that you're going to go through to do that are going to be the same things you're going to learn to make your own suit of armor eventually.